Chaplain's aid and benefit proposals, I'll go over those in just a second, but we're actually going to expand the chaplains, the way that the national blesses the chaplains, the way the national has benefit and aid for the chaplains. So I want to go over those now. And Tony will jump in here and help me define this. We had a committee that we've been looking at it now for, we've been looking at this issue for 3 years. The one thing, everybody says, we would like to have, provide some medical benefits. We would like to provide this, or we'd like to provide that for the chaplains. It's really tough because we're dealing with many different state laws. We're not in an employer-employee relationship. So it hampers us greatly to be able to provide you guys what we want to provide you. We looked at health savings accounts, we looked at several different vehicles, but we've come up with a solution that we're going to start in 2022. The two programs that are new are from the board, and what we've come up with is the chaplain's retirement match. I'll explain in just a second. And the Caring Committee request, which I explained to the ambassadors at their meeting yesterday, but I'll explain further to you guys. The well-being of the RTCA chaplains is the primary objective of RTCA National. We want our chaplains to be healthy spiritually, physically, mentally, socially, and financially. Over the past several years, the board and staff have been researching several ways to offer tangible benefits to each RTCA chaplain in good standing. The selection of benefits is limited due to the uniqueness of the non-employee relationship. Also, RTCA National has to be financially stable to sustain such benefit programs. After much research and discussion, the first objective to provide a benefit to the chaplains to help them to be better prepared for retirement. So I want to announce today the Chaplain Retirement Program. To encourage councils to help prepare chaplains for retirement, this is one issue that we found, that chaplains aren't thinking about retirement. They're selfless, they're sacrificial, but they weren't given a lot of financial planning in seminary. Maybe you were, maybe you weren't, but for the most part, every pastor that I've known has to one day sit down and go, oh wow, how did I end up being in my 40s or my 50s? I don't have anything for retirement. Some pastors have even opted out of Social Security, which is, you're able to do that under the law. A chaplain or a pastor or clergy can opt out one time for Social Security, and they never ever get it again. They can't ever get back into the program. And I know many pastors that do that, and it's disastrous. So the RTCA National will match $2,000 for the first 10 councils that make a $2,000 contribution towards a chaplain's retirement account. So what we're asking is this, that the councils contribute $2,000 to a chaplain's retirement account, and the council will submit a match request to RTCA National with documentation, and RTCA National will send a $2,000 match back to the council. We have to send it to the council because we can't give it to you directly or give it to the retirement directly without tax implications. So we send it back to the council with the intent of matching the $2,000 that they put in, and then the match goes into the chaplain's retirement and documentation back to RTCA National. So you would have 4 total. This is the start. This is the beginning, the genesis. We hope to grow this in future. Grow this in the future. So, all right, Tony, I'm gonna help you. I'm allow you to help me answer these questions and whatever. If you don't know, Tony's is a financial planner in his profession. So why send the match to the council? Why not just send the match directly to the retirement account manager? It has to do with tax implications. And so it's easier for us to go ahead, send it to the council, and with the intent that you're actually going to invest it, and by an honor situation, you will deposit it into the chaplain's retirement fund. Why do you need documentation for the initial contribution? And again, when the match is deposited, just for checks and balances and due diligence. We want to see that $2,000 was deposited into the retirement account for the chaplain, and we want to see when the $2,000 goes in to the chaplains, the match goes in. Yeah. We do not have a chaplain retirement plan set up for our chaplain. Who do we talk to? Tony has contacts that you can talk to. Again, there's thriving, representatives all across the nation. If you want to choose your own, that's fine. But you need to talk to a financial planner. So on setting up a chaplain's retirement account. What if a chaplain pulls retirement monies out early? Okay, that's up to them. There's a huge tax implications to that, but this isn't something that we're going to manage. Once we deposit it, once we match it, but if the chaplain makes that discretionary judgment that there's an emergency going on, they need to pull the monies out, there's nothing we can do. So I mean, that's your money, from you to do with it as you choose. Why do we pick a retirement benefit over a medical benefit? We looked at so many different plans and so many different ways to do it. We were advised by at least 3 different entities. It was hard to do without getting really, really detailed, really messy, and actually it was going to be tax implications for the chaplain. So we even looked at AFLAC, as maybe a supplemental type medical insurance. It just wasn't working. So that's why we chose retirement. What do you mean by being a pilot program? This is just seed money. We're going to see how the process works. We're going to see how it goes. We'll reevaluate after 2022. We'll fine tune it and we'll make it even better. So, what types of retirement plans qualify? Tony, do you want to speak to this a little bit?
Yeah, I've had a lot of questions since this kind of came out, and there, as Dan said, we've been working on this a long time. Lots of consultations with pension administrators and things like that. Depending on how you pay your employees, is it a 1099 you pay your chaplain? Is it a 1099? Is it a W-2? We have to work that out as to which plan you fund. A SEP IRA is a good place to do it. We might even fund a traditional IRA. So it just depends on your situation. As Dan said, be flexible with us because we don't know how many chaplains are going to apply for this. So I think we might have to look at that and say, okay, can we fund more than the 10? That's the thing. We don't know, and I was not aware of the huge differentiation between. I know what California does because I'm actively involved in that. I don't know what Emerald Downs does, or I don't know what some of these other places do. So it's going to be a learning experience for me, but I'm available to help kind of work out the plan with National, and we'll get it done. That's all I can say is we'll get it done. But all the details will come out when we know more of the facts. So that answers.
Yeah. And so finally, our support staff eligible? Not at this time. So we need to go ahead and focus on the chaplains, get that fine-tuned, get that in place. Hopefully later on down the line, we can start broadening the scope. So, all right, again, the next benefit objective, again, the well-being of our RTCA family is a primary concern of RTCA Nationals. It's Elliot's heartbeat. It's the board's heartbeat. RTCA council accounts were created to help with ministry and educational activities. The request comes from the council president, and a check is sent to the council. This program works well, and it meets large ministry-related needs. However, the RTCA National often receives requests from the RTCA family for immediate financial help. These are usually personal requests, which goes beyond the scope of the council accounts. We want to create a mechanism to help the RTCA family quickly, especially in times of personal crisis. Several times a year, we will get calls from chaplains mainly, but also other people. They'll say, I need dental work done. I got to have this done. I got to have that done. There's an emergency situation here or there. And we really don't have the mechanism to just write checks, right? We can, and we've done that. We've done that several times. We've given out, checks out of there. But it's really not in our process. The council accounts were meant for ministry activities and those type of things, and to help get you guys to the national conference. But it's not really meant for personal crisis situations. So we're announcing the Caring Committee, and I spoke to the ambassadors about this yesterday. The purpose is, Jesus said one of the greatest commandments is to love your neighbor as yourself. RTCA wants to demonstrate Christ's love in times of need to our chaplains, council members, support staff, and their families. We want it Christ-centered. This program will be a constant reminder that the RTCA loves and cares for one another. We want to involve and empower. This committee will have ownership to meet the needs within the annual allotted budget, thereby sharing responsibility, creating a caring culture, and ensuring follow-up. The methods used to distribute these funds will be done quickly, especially in times of emergency. RTCA family members often find themselves in times of distress due to unforeseen circumstances. Such unexpected needs and expenses involve the following: medical, vehicle and car, rent and housing, food supplies, late bills, weather damage, and a host of other things. So who would be eligible to receive these funds? Primarily, we're going to focus on the chaplains, their immediate family, the council members, and the support staff of the local councils. If we have monies left over and we can help some key volunteers, if we can help some people in the industry and the partners, we'll work on that. But the primary objective is to help the RTCA family, to help the chaplains. So here's the parameters. There will be a maximum $500 request. You're limited to 2 requests per year. Now we know that $500 is not a lot, but when you're in a crisis situation, when you need cash and you need a fast and you got to cover the rent, or you've got a huge mechanical bill on your car and you got to get from there to there, whatever the need, okay, we're going to get the money to you quickly. Okay, that's the objective. And it may just be a Band-Aid, but it's more than we've had before in the past. Okay, $5,000 is going to be budgeted for the pilot year. You saw that in your budget. $5,000. We're going to start with $5,000. Again, this is a pilot program. We want this to grow. We want this to be better in the future. Okay. So this is how it's going to work. Request is received by RTCA National because obviously our phones are the ones you guys know to call or email. Then forward to 3 regional ambassadors. Okay. I've talked to the regional ambassadors about this. We want to get the ambassadors more involved. We want to get them, we want to build up what their role is in RTCA. So we send out the request to 3 ambassadors. 2 approvals of the 3 regional ambassadors allows RTCA to immediately distribute the funds. Okay? We don't have we don't have a whole gobbledygook of approvals and so on and so forth, whatever. We know that person's in crisis. 2 ambassadors say go, we go. Okay? We distribute the funds. RTCA National will deliver the funds in the quickest and most logical method possible. Monies will be sent to third-party entities whenever possible. We'd rather pay the mechanic. We'd rather pay for the doctor bill. We'd rather, because that's just good financial management. Okay, but we know if you need it, we're gonna get it out there to the crisis. And the ambassadors will be the one. The national office, Omar and myself and Sandy, we're always going to follow up with you guys. Okay. We're always going to pray for you guys. We're always going to look into meeting your own personal emergency needs. But we want the ambassadors to be the ones to call them and say, hey, how are you doing? How is this person doing, or that person? How's your family member doing? How's this going? We want the ambassadors to be the ones to reach out and say, how can we help? What can we do? Okay. So here, again, this is just an overview. The caring committee request comes in and says, look, I need to get some emergency funds. The request is then distributed to all the ambassadors within that region. Region 3, Region 1, Region 2, Region 3. At least 2 approvals or disapprovals are given quickly by email, text by the ambassadors. If they say yes, we get the funds out as quickly as we possibly can to either the individual or the third party and follow with a requester by a designated regional ambassador. If they say no, if we can't, and again, they're going to have ownership of this program, right? If they say no, the follow-up requester by the designated regional ambassador, and if the ambassador deems the need valid, we just follow the process to get it out. Make sense? Any questions?